Hmm. Setting it up.
I started to say hi because it says it's now streaming.
Oh, well, then you can do it. It just says setting it up, but
Is it ready? Are we live? We are
yep.
live on Facebook. Good morning. Good Friday morning. I'm in a hotel room in Alabama right now, and I hear the weather's been pretty bad there in Houston, so we're all set up. And today, Kimbra, our co-host, is going to introduce her guest, and she'll be interviewing her. So, Kimbra, take it away.
Good morning. I'm Kimbra Valachovic. I'm with Keller Williams Southwest, and I am introducing today Joanne Youssef. She is my favorite ESCO officer in the title industry in Sugar Land, and she is with Celebrity Title. And I've got some great information that I've suggested she share with our audience about title insurance. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning. How's everybody today?
Pretty good, not wet.
Thank goodness, right? We got a break.
So I was looking to see, do we have the logo up for Celebrity? Norman, okay.
Here it comes.
There we go. Celebrity Title in Sugar Land and Katie, and don't y'all have a third office?
We do in Cyprus.
Okay, super. I guess if you don't mind, Joanne, start with kind of your experience, how long you've been in the industry and what you like about working in title industry.
Well, I've been in title for over 20 years. I love it. I love my favorite part is closing, actually, meeting everybody and closing, and that's always a lot of fun. But it's something new every day. In title, you always learn something new or you experience something new, but it's a lot of fun. I like it. I'm a paperwork person anyway, so it works out.
Cool. So the first thing that always comes to mind when I'm visiting with sellers and getting them up to speed on what their cost to sell will be, because the title insurance falls on the seller side typically in this market. What percentage of sellers wind up paying the title policy in your experience in residential?
In resident, 91%.
That's what I've been telling.
Very standard for the seller to pay for the owner's title policy.
Okay, cool. So then they say, well, what is that? And why do I need that? Or why does the buyer need that? Can you talk a little bit about what title insurance is?
Sure, absolutely. Purchasing real estate is probably the biggest investment you'll ever make. With that in mind, you want to insure it, not only to protect it from fire, but theft, but also from defects in title. So it is possible for your prior owners and other entities to hold both legitimate and illegitimate claims against your property. Problems with the title can limit your use of the property and could lead to financial loss. So the security interest of your mortgage lender can be put at risk as well. Title insurance protects you and your mortgage company from potential risks associated with defects in title. Now, title policy, what does the title policy protect you from and your lender against? Let's just say I have a few examples. The document in the chain of title is not properly signed, sealed, or acknowledged or delivered. That's a problem. Fraud, incompetence, forgery, incapacity, or impersonation by someone in the chain of title. It goes on and on. And what these can be just little minor defects can turn into something where you can't sell the property. When you're purchasing the property, it won't be able to be insured. So you want these all to be addressed. So title insurance protects you from this. So even as a seller, your owner's title policy still covers you during your sale until you actually sell the property. And for buyers, it protects you for any liens and things like that will pop up that are not yours at all.
Okay, and when people are always ask me, how much it is, and it's changed a little over my years in real estate. What's kind of a good rule of thumb for how much are they going to wind up having to pay before we do a pure calculation?
I would say a general rule of thumb is 1% of the sales price. it's pretty, I mean, it'll be off by maybe $100 or so, but it's pretty accurate.
Okay. And then, so some of the things that have come up in issues that have slowed down a closing because things were discovered during title. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So there can be tax liens, IRS liens against the person. That has to be cleared up before you can sell the property. If you're in bankruptcy, you have to come out of bankruptcy. If you're going through a divorce, of course, we'll have to have details on that and to know whether or not you guys can close together. So, you know, there's different, okay, so abstracts of judgment, child support liens, all of this has to be cleared up prior to closing.
And y'all are there to assist the sellers in getting these things cleared, right?
Well, we can guide them, but we cannot call the IRS. We can't call on judgments and things like that, because that's still negotiable. We can't negotiate on behalf of the seller, but we can guide them to speak to the right people. Okay.
One other thing that's come up for my client base lately quite a bit is, say they've been left the property in an inheritance situation and they opted not to go through probate. Mm-hmm. And so they immediately asked me, is this going to be a problem? And I said, well, potentially it could be. We do need to go to Joanne and find out what we need to be able to pass clear title. Could you speak a little bit about that, what we've been able to do?
It's called an heirship affidavit. So that's in lieu of the will. And it has to name everybody who's going to benefit from the property. So you're listing all the heirs, and then you have to have 2 witnesses that are not related to sign off on this document. And it's about $250 charge for all this to happen, but it does take a little time. It will delay closing sometimes, depending on how long it takes to gather all the information from all the heirs. But yes, that is one thing that can work in selling the property without having to go through probate. Sometimes through probate is best, but you know, if you're unable or don't want to, then the heirship affidavit is the way to go.
Have you ever run across a case where that just wouldn't work, doing the heirship affidavit?
There was one case where, yes, the people, unfortunately, the husband and wife, they both died very close together. And the one heir that was here, they didn't have any witnesses because apparently the husband and wife never left the house, I guess. I don't know, but none of the neighbors knew them or anything. So it was very, very difficult to get that taken care of. They ended up going through probate because they could not finish the heirship affidavit. I see.
Let's see, what else have unusual things that we've had to clear on title? We've run across some liens. So what are some liens other than tax liens that we've run across when you run, quote unquote, run title during a contract and find that there's some things that are going to stop the transaction?
That would be abstracts of judgments, child support liens, things like that have to be paid off prior to closing. So that's mainly the most of them is abstracts of judgments, really. I don't see too many federal liens, but you know, sometimes those come around too.
What is an abstract of judgment? I'm sorry, you're talking over my head.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's when a creditor goes to court and gets a judgment against you. So let's say Capital One, you never paid them, you had no desire to pay them, so they took you to court. Now you have a judgment against you. So be paid in order to close.
Do you run across very many mechanics liens? I've always been talked about that, but I guess I haven't seen any affect us.
No, not too much anymore. Now, back probably 5-6 years ago, maybe even 10, there was a water softener company that was throwing liens on everybody's houses if they even considered doing a water softener. So that was a big problem because the company dissolved and we were trying to get releases and it was crazy. But we ended up working through it and ultimately found an attorney to take care of those as well. But that was rampant for a long time, was the water softener liens that were really not viable.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there's a sometimes people want to know, well, why am I being closed at this particular title company? There's a choice during the contract process that it's denoted on the contract between a buyer and a seller of where this contract will close and what escrow company or escrow officer will handle it. And so we typically have an agent in the transaction will have a relationship with a title company. And I work with Celebrity specifically because not their expertise, their excellent customer service, and because they are very convenient for our clients that have to come in. They'll provide notary service to sign things, provide us with powers of attorney if one of the parties can't be present for the closing. And we've really appreciated y'all being able to be full service for us. That matters.
You're so welcome. And I like to add that, you know, when choosing a title company, you're looking at how many underwriters they have. It's very important to have multiple underwriters in case one underwriter review doesn't really work. They can switch it to another underwriter, but if you only have one, that's all you got. So it's we have 5 actually, and we have 5 different underwriters we can write any policies from. It's also, I would say, for service. Definitely customer service is a big thing with title companies. If you don't, we don't have voicemail here. You're gonna reach a live person no matter what. Whether you're reaching the person you want to or whatever, you're gonna reach a person. I purposely do not have voicemail because of that reason, because people, I used to hear that people would not call back, you know, and they'd have such a hard time communicating. And I think that's wrong. I think you need to be available whenever you need to.
Great. So the other thing is this title policy we keep talking about, that actually comes in physical form and is delivered during the contract process, right? What's the typical date of delivery for that?
For title commitment, we can get them out probably within 7 days, if not sooner. Sometimes we do rushes, you know, where the closing's happening in 7 days or 10 days. And we can also, we have our own examiner. So I can ask for a favor and get a title commitment probably within the hour if I need it.
Okay. And that's given to the buyer as well as the seller, correct?
Correct. And
then when they get their title policy, that goes to the buyer at closing?
Well, it gets mailed to the buyer about 2 to 3 weeks after closing, and it's also attached to it is their original recorded warranty deed. So those are 2 items that you want to hold on to for sure.
Right, because a lot of people are like, I don't even know what to do with this. People do keep papers from a purchase, but they don't know how important that title policy is, right?
Very important. It tells your underwriter, it has your underwriter contact phone numbers in case you need to make a claim. It has your policy number on it. And of course, your original warranty deed you want to hold on to as well, because that transfers title into your buyer's name.
Great. One other thing that we've come across lately, and again, I appreciate y'all being able to help this, is we have sellers that have decided, okay, the deal's almost done. We're going to go ahead and move. So we want to close in another city.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to come back for closing? And what do you say?
No, you do not. We do remote closings as well. We actually are able to do e-closings now. And I have 2 officers, or 1 officer, 1 assistant here that is able to do the e-closing over the computer, kind of like what we're doing right now, and get notarized. You don't even, and it's a $45 charge versus a mobile notary, which is a $200 charge. So it's even saving them money too.
That's cool. How many of those have y'all accomplished since that started?
We've done 1 because the lenders have to be on board too. The lenders have to be accepting of this. So we have officially done 1, and we'd love to do more. But we are offering this even for the folks that go out of the country. They're able to do this without having to go to the consulate, which is huge.
Wow, that is.
Yes, very excited about the program.
Awesome. So mobile notary, what do you call it? E-closing?
Or e-closing, sure.
Okay, and then the other thing is the powers of attorney. I've had a lot of those lately. For one, right now, one of my clients is in China, and her partner is here, and she's given him power to close for her while she's gone. So tell us about how that works.
Okay, so powers of attorney is when you appoint somebody to come in and sign on your behalf. And we record the documents, so we'll need the original. But I have to let you know, as a realtor, if you're representing this person, you cannot be their power of attorney. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine with me.
But we do that quite often, and it's a very smooth process. So there's usually, we never really have any problems. We just have to call and make sure that they're alive and well and they don't revoke the power of attorney. So we do that on the day of closing.
Okay, so, and we predetermine how to reach them. Sometimes the time zones can get quite challenging.
Yes, and sometimes we do FaceTime with the person giving power of attorney. They'll come in and we FaceTime with them. So we kind of go with the flow and try not to wake them up, but sometimes it happens.
So those are the main things that come to mind as a consumer. Sandy, as a consumer, is there anything you've always wanted to know about title?
Actually, this has been, I'm loving this because we are going to be selling our house in a few months or a year maybe. So every week, Kimbra, you guys from Keller Williams Southwest have been just giving me this education on some things, and this has been great, Joanne. I mean, great. I never would have realized how important that title insurance was. So, so thank you for that. Thank you for all this great information, and Kimbra for bringing Joanne today. I think that's awesome. I've learned a lot, and I don't think I have any questions right now. Maybe because it's still a little over my head, but
well,
yeah,
I'd like to talk about one more thing, if that's okay.
Please do. I figured you get more questions than we do even.
I want to talk about wire fraud. It is a huge problem right now. I know for a while, title companies were requiring people to wire their funds in for closing, and they wouldn't take a cashier's check. I, on the other hand, am totally opposite. We have caught way too many wire frauds in this office personally. I mean, the emails just get switched up just a little, and all of a sudden everybody's, you're sending your money to Mexico. So double check your wiring instructions. Always call and verify them. Double check with your title company. If somebody says, hey, wire your funds and we'll give you a discount on your escrow fee. By the way, that doesn't ever happen. That is fraud. That is a scam. Please be wary of all of these wire fraud folks. I prefer a cashier's check any day. That way you walk in with it, you will have no problems with, wires going the wrong way. But it was caught last week. There was somebody who said they took over an email and hey, if you wire your funds, you get $850 off your escrow fee. Well, my escrow fee is only $400. So they kind of lost out on that one, but it's happening still. So be very, very diligent in verifying these emails and these wiring instructions if you happen to get them.
And so how is it usually happening to the consumer? They're getting an email that looks like it's coming from y'all and asking them to do things?
Yep, saying, we just came up with a new program. Wire us your funds to this account. You get a discount on your closing costs. That doesn't happen anywhere. It's a fraud.
Wow.
So, latest and greatest.
That's really crazy. I mean, how do they even know this person is selling or buying a house?
Because usually they hack into the realtor's email.
Oh my God.
So sort of closing, that's how they figure it out. And all of a sudden your money's gone.
Yeah,
which makes your role, Joanne, as the title company just really super important in this whole business. That's awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so we always tell people don't be faxing anything or emailing anything in regards to those. Bring those in. As far as the closing proceeds is what concerns me the most.
Right.
When it's time to send, we're all happy, shaking hands, we're done, and now they're like, well, we don't want to come back for our check. We'll just send, can you just wire the money to our bank account? And that's where I actually ran into problems, I guess about 2 years ago.
Yes, that was one of our first wire frauds, was on one of your files.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now
somebody figured out a way to make an email look like mine, minus one letter. And they were connecting the sellers.
And with us. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my
Say the
God.
same.
Giving new instructions on where to send the money, and we caught it because I'm always checking to see, hey, did you get your money? Did you get your money? And anyway, that made all of us high alert, change a lot of processes to make it more secure.
We verify all wiring instructions now. We talk to the person. That's it. And usually we won't accept them via email at all. So yeah, we've gotten really strict with it.
Good point. And the other fun thing about closing with Celebrity is that they love to celebrate with spirits at the closing, and they many times provide meals when it's hitting it during the lunch and breakfast time frames for our sellers and buyers. And that's just a wonderful way to make it easy to take time out of your day to come in and close your transaction.
Yeah, grab a bite to eat, but you get the wine after you close, not during.
Exactly. No any questions. You knew what you were doing when you were signing. But otherwise, are there any questions from the audience out there that we could answer before we sign off?
Amy, do you see any questions there on Facebook?
No, I don't. You've had a lot of
Okay.
people join though, but I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Well, if y'all hear us and you've got one question you'd like us to address, please type it in really quickly, and Amy can tell us what's going on with that. We can answer specific questions.
And Kimbra, I think if somebody's watching this later and they have a question, if they put it in the comment section, we'll still see it and get Joanne to answer it, right?
Absolutely. We will follow up on that for sure.
Good. Because I think this should definitely, well, I don't have any questions. I think it answered a lot, but I think this has definitely been a thought-provoking conversation to make sure you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and you don't do any wire transfers, and that's
exactly.
Yeah. So I typically get in touch with Joanne after I've interviewed a seller prepping their house to sell. And I have asked some of these questions that I know could need a little bit of advance warning, and I'll bring the file to her immediately and say, could y'all open title and see if we have any things we need to work on early in the process before we even get a contract. And that's been very helpful. Help us be prepared and informed, so there's not a lot of freak out last minute things to handle when the clock is ticking in a contract. So
exactly. A lot of times we can handle all those before it goes under contract, which is beautiful.
Yes, exactly. Well, I guess that's it for us for today. Is there anything else you think we need to do other than, like I said, if y'all have any questions, you're viewing this after it's been archived and reposted, please put something in the comments. We'll be happy to get back to you.
Or even, because we're going to be putting all these real estate know-how interviews on the website. So somebody may be watching this down the road and will still be here and still answering questions. So thank you, Kimbra. Joanne, thanks very much for being Kimbra's guest today. Very, very good information. Norman, as always, thank you for being there with being ready to post all the images, being our tech support. And Amy, thank you for joining us today. Amy works with me. She's my tech support. And since I am on the road, then it's been great for her to be there to get us all together. So thank you all. Join us again next Friday when Kimbra will still be our co-host for the rest of May. And we'll be right here at 10 a.m. next Friday, the 17th of May, on Real Estate Know-how with Keller Williams Southwest. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Everybody stay dry.